So, okay, so let's talk about inventory, handling the inventory, because that's another challenge, right? So you have inventory at Amazon and you are
Mhm.
transitioning. So some of that inventory is bought and paid for, and so tell us some things that you learned about the best way to handle that transition.
Yeah, I think slowly transitioning is the way to do it. We obviously, our Hero ASINs had a lot more stock at Amazon that was purchased by 1P. So not only was I trying to learn by using lower velocity SKUs, but I needed to run through this inventory on this side and then start canceling POs and going through that process to obsolete products so that they wouldn't keep sending POs. Um, but at the same time, you're almost doing double the work, right? Because you're paying attention to Vendor Central inventory, and then you have to build it into a system, an inventory system, which I just use Google Sheets and pull down a couple of reports from Seller Central, and started transitioning the brand demand forecast. Um, One issue outside of like that transition and ebbing and flowing was the subscribe and save.
Mm.
Um, Technically, and maybe they fix this, I don't know, but technically subscriptions are supposed to transfer over to 3P from 1P. That did not happen for us. So we had to start subscribing save all over again. Um, and that kind of messed up our inventory too, because I was focusing on subscript, like, obviously that has pretty easy to figure out the demand on that. And I was sending that to 3P, but the subscriptions weren't turning because they didn't get moved over.
Mhm. So when you transition from 1P to 3P and you don't get the subscriptions transferred, what do you do? Did you have to get?
So we just had to rebuild the program, right? But on 3P, you have to have the sales velocity to be able to be included in subscribe and save. So like that
Yeah.
took a little bit of time. But
Oh,
technically, what I was told is that the consumer who has a subscription is supposed to get an email that says switch. And apparently that never happened.
oh, I see.
I still don't understand that whole thing, but it got messed up in my transition.
Okay. All right. So, but what I'm hearing from you is doing this in phases, and especially
Hmm.
starting from the um, slower items rather than the best sellers. That's the key.
Yeah, I also think I think the first thing you need to do is have clean data. Like make sure you have pull down as much information as you can from 1P and get the new flat files from 3P and fill it out as complete as possible. And then upload, start that transition. Um, yeah, I think make sure all your data is and save it.
Yeah.
Make it.
And, and by data, you're referring to the listing data, the content,
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
they
the
have
content data.
attributes, and of being a vendor central listing, they probably have a lot more of those attributes populated. And if you go to 3P and you do a half job, then you lost content, right?
And the other piece of that is like I had listings that had been on there since 2007 that I hadn't done a ton of optimization. So those didn't have a lot of the information filled out. And I did not I did not fill out my flat file before on everything. So when I loaded it to 3P, it loaded, but there were locked attributes, right? That I couldn't go back and change. You can, but it takes a lot of time and effort. So if I would have done, on those listings, if I would have had a flat file completely filled out with every column with something in it and uploaded that, I would have been a lot farther ahead than having to go backwards.
Yeah, it's always after the fact, you realize that this could have been such an easy and quick job, but as yet, you kept trying. So, have you ever used the IDQ report?
No, I don't know. What is that?
Okay, so I had a lady on the podcast, and she was specialized in this. So IDQ stands for item data quality.
Oh, their dashboard on the back end. Is that
No,
what you're
no,
talking
it's not
about?
a dashboard. This is not available through Seller Central
Oh,
naturally. You have to contact seller support and say, can I have my IDQ report? And then they will deliver it for you. So what IDQ report does is, so as you know, Amazon's business model is provide the best customer experience.
mhm.
So how do you improve a shopper's experience about a particular product that they may be looking for? By the quality and the quantity of the data you provide, right?
Right.
So that comes in terms of specs, text, pictures, and everything that we all know about. But it also comes with all the attributes that you see on the left-hand side that is listed from top to bottom. Search by this, by that, by the other, filter by all these attributes, especially if you have something that has those granular kind of specs,
Yeah.
they come in very handy. So what IDQ report does is it gives you a score. The top score is 100. If you have your title, bullets, blah, blah, what everybody knows, you're going to get 80%.
Yeah.
But that extra 20% is those incremental changes that and apparently the report says you're missing this, you're missing that, you're missing the other. If you populate those, then the kind of impact it makes is huge, because suddenly you start to show up in all these other searches where, for example, you may be in page 5
Yeah.
because it's not, the filtering is not available, but some people filter, then you end up on page 1.
Question for you on this, because that's fascinating, and I'm gonna go after this. I'm gonna go request
Oh, yeah.
it, but it almost sounds like an addition to the category listing report. Because like when I download the category listing report, I can see, the 3 mile long spreadsheet with all the attributes and what I'm missing. But this sounds like it might be it takes it even
Yeah,
a step farther.
yeah. Google IDQ score, and
Yeah,
then do some research. You will find that this is something separate. So with Amazon, everything is metrics, right? So it's
right.
score, this score, that score, the other score, and if the score is between this and this, then do this, blah blah. So it's exact. That's what they've done. So the inventory report is an inventory report. You can see what is what. But this
Mhm.
is translated into some kind of a management tool so that you can manage the performance of your content by paying attention to things that could be better or missing.
Yeah, that's awesome because I use the category listings report. I pull it down, I don't know, every couple of weeks and just see if any information's listing. But and I mean, most of that's just the back end, different attributes. Where this sounds like it's more of the PDP on the front end and giving you that score. So
Yes, definitely. This is all. It's from everything that I've seen, it's all about utilizing those filtering capabilities that Amazon offers for each category. It's different, it's they have all different things, and most people don't submit those attribute values. So
mhm.
you end up relying on just the keywords and whatever advertising you're doing.